What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tour of my home DIY recording studio, Homewood Sound, as I have affectionately named it. And hopefully for you guys that are out there doing your own DIY home studio builds, or maybe you're looking to up your game a little bit, hopefully you'll draw some inspiration and get some creative workarounds for your own home studios. For me, when I was starting this whole journey, I had to consider what were really the important things that I wanted to get out of this whole experience. And for me, when I think about the kind of home studio that I want something that's got incredible vibe. I want it to feel like you're walking into a space that doesn't feel like it's in your home, and it feels like a professional recording studio vibe. And it has to be super functional. Things have to be versatile, convertible, and able to be moved around, a modular kind of setup. So I really focused on putting a lot of stuff on wheels so you can move things around quickly and have things easily accessible, and tried to make things as functional as possible. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is a killer drum room. I've shot live streams, acoustic live streams in here. I have tracked drums in here. It's a great versatile room. As I said, everything's on wheels, so I can do what I need to do to move things around and make these rooms what I need them to be for whatever the task at hand is. And that is what I recommend to you if you're creating your own space in your home and you're trying to sort out like how to leverage the space. Don't overthink it. Just make things that are modular so that if you need to create a nook somewhere, that you can do that with the stuff you have. You can do a lot with a little. What else we have going on in here? I've got two double panel clouds that I hung, and man, I did all the work in the studio myself, and what a crazy challenge it was to get these clouds hung. They're hung on an incline like a vaulted ceiling would be. And not an easy task to do on your own. I would recommend, if you are doing any kind of stuff like this, get somebody to help you. I'm an idiot, but I did get it done, and it all turned out great. As you can see, the walls, the trim, and the ceiling are all painted the same color. As you'll notice going through the studio, it took 10 gallons of paint. It took me a week to paint this whole thing. I should have sprayed the ceiling to start with, but I didn't. If you're approaching a DIY build, if you're getting ready to build your studio out and you're thinking about doing some dramatic colors and particularly paint the ceiling, do not try to roll it, especially if you have popcorn ceiling. Just spray it. Get on with the thing. Some of the other creative things I did take moving blankets that I also got at Harbor Freight. A lot of what I got here is from Harbor Freight, so you don't have to spend a ton of money. You just got to get creative. So I grommeted these moving blankets, and they're behind these sound deadening curtains that I got off of Amazon. Maybe I'll link those in the description for you guys if you want to check those out. And I'm able to just close the space off. There's also curtains going in between the two rooms here. So there's a big cased opening here, an 8-foot cased opening, and I have panels, rolling baffles that will block that. And I can also close the curtains if I need to, or I can open it up and have full access to it. It's great. As I said, this space is all about being versatile, being modular, being able to move things. Everything's on wheels or on casters. It just makes the whole thing. If you're trying to set up and you don't want to be bogged down in a space that's already small by having to figure out where to go. So you want to be able to move things and create the space that you need for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I think the frustrating thing that a lot of us run into is when you get in your mindset, you're going to build out your studio and you want it to look and be as pro as possible. But what you really need to consider is a lot of the records that you hear on the radio right now were made in somebody's bedroom. And I know a lot of great, amazing engineers who work in great studios now, but they got their start tracking in their houses. Next, we're gonna go in here and take a look at my little ISO booth. This thing has worked out great for me so far. It's great to have an isolation booth. I wasn't in a position where I could build out an actual ISO booth that closed and was treated, was soundproof, but this really gets the job done for me. As I mentioned to you guys, this is my little ISO booth. So I'm able to track acoustic guitars here. You can see I've got my little ISO shield set up here with a tube condenser mic set up so I can track vocals. I can cue sessions from an iPad from right here running into my DAW. I'm using Pro Tools. I'm sure you can do that with just about any app, any DAW that you're using these days. But we've got bass traps behind there. You've got a gobo with foam right here and a heavy duty sound deadening panel there. So you really I can roll in another baffle if I need it, if I need to get it super dead, or I can adjust accordingly. Works out really great for me. Next up, we're gonna go check out the control room and see how the layout of what the workflow is in there. Let's go. So when I was thinking this through with my control room, I spend so much of my time in this room by myself, and I need to have things close to me. I want to be able to have everything right here when I'm inspired, when I'm being creative, and not having to go find things. So one of the next things I'm going to do, this will be on a future video, I'm going to put casters on these platforms that all these guitar boats are on so that I can roll them over when I'm tracking guitars. Have my amp head right here, the one that's sitting right back there on that road case. I roll it right here and I'm able to track, have access to the guitars that I need. If I'm tracking rough vocals, I've got a Shure SM7B that's set up, ready to go in the chain all the time. And it just makes it really easy to be inspired and to press record and get a good take. All right, lastly, but certainly not leastly, welcome to the dojo. This room is a hang spot. It is where my band, the Royal Velvet, rehearses, and we craft our heavy pop rock tunes, and where one day records will be made, but it won't be today. This room was the inspiration for my studio, and it's still a place where we congregate. Behind the camera, there are couches where lots of people come hang, music gets written. It is such a cool spot, and I think that if you're a creator, you need a spot that's going to inspire you and be creative, and there's nothing more inspiring than this room for me. It's set up so that if I want to, I can tie into my digital mixer that's back there, and I can mic everything up in here. I do have a second set of drum mics, so that is something that we have threatened to do. Haven't quite done it yet. I've got a maple drum kit mic'd up upstairs. This is a birch drum kit, so you have a little variety in tracking. Works out great. All right, let's go through the amp. So this is where we keep all the heavy artillery, as you would say. We've got a 72 high watt custom 50 head going into a 212 open back. Next to that, you've got a 75 JMP 100 watt Marshall head that's been modded out. It has EL34s in it going into a 412, a 72 Super Reverb, Fender Super Reverb, Silverface Super Reverb, killer amp, one of the best Super Reverbs I've ever heard. And then the trusty old SVT Classic going through a 610. So it gets mighty loud down here, but that's how we like it. You know, ultimately, it doesn't matter what your space looks like, and maybe your space doesn't look like this, and maybe this isn't your vibe. That's cool. What is important though is that you make the most of the space that you have, and you got to get creative. You've got to figure out affordable solutions to problems that seem like they can only be treated with throwing a bunch of money at it. It's just not the case. Trust your ear, trust your instincts, be creative, and let the chips fall where they may. right, guys, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you're still watching here at the very bitter end, a sincere thank you from me to you. If you dug what you saw in this video, I ask you now to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you get notified when I put more content out. I'm working on a ton of stuff. We're just getting started. And if you're feeling really, really generous, hey, maybe click that like button. Apparently it helps with the algorithm. I am Justin Brogdon. This is Doubling Down. Until next time, you guys be good to each other. Cheers.